let's get started tonight. Let's answer our first email question. This one is from Becca. I own a small restaurant. Will my business interruption insurance cover the losses we're experiencing because of this virus situation? Something a lot of people are going through right now. So
yeah, this is Les is actually going to take this one.
Yeah, Becca, that's an excellent question, and unfortunately it's probably one that is weighing on the minds of a lot of business owners out there as we're facing these mandatory quarantines and have really no idea what's going to be coming down the pike in the next few weeks. So I know that's on a lot of people's minds. And here's the answer, and it's the classic lawyer answer. It depends. It depends on what your policy says. Some policies may very well cover business interruption. I imagine that most of them do not. But again, it really depends also not just on what the policy says, but also the facts of the loss itself. For example, you might have a policy that will cover you if you are forced to shut down because, say, your area got contaminated and you had to go in and clean it. That could be something that could fall under, but again, it really just depends on what the policy says. So it's like most insurance questions dealing with coverage.
It's the insurance policies are your most sold, least read book that's out there, Les. That's right. And so really what you got to do, Becca, is dig out your insurance policy, take it to a lawyer, let a lawyer take a look at it, and then we can give you a full and complete answer on it.
So basically look into that, bring that to you guys, and that's the way that has to be right now.
It is, unfortunately. Following the MERS and the SARS epidemic that happened back in the early 2000s and then early part of this or previous decade, insurance companies made changes in their policies to eliminate that from their business interruption policy. But Les brought up a very good point. What happens if you're shut down because somebody comes in and they're contaminated? Not that you're shut down as a result of a government quarantine, or sometimes a policy can be read that the government quarantine itself is a disruption and an interruption in your business, and that might be something that's different. This is something, we're in uncharted territory, but I guarantee you what's going to happen is as we look through the policies, we're going to try and find those that apply, and those that don't apply, the judges will tell us, look, that doesn't apply. You get in there, you find out what's in the policies, you're going to read them, we're going to go through them, and we're going to make the best claims possible for our clients. Already in the state of Louisiana, there's at least a dozen cases that have been filed just in the New Orleans area on this issue. So by the time we get around to filing the cases here in Bay County, Florida, we're going to have a little bit of case law to work with out of Louisiana, at least hopefully.
Perfect. And bringing up the topic of self-isolating, and the government, wants people to try and work from home. There was a good question brought up to me by a viewer earlier tonight that says, I really want to practice social distancing and I can work from home, but I'm afraid that because my boss still wants me to come into work that I could get fired. Is this something, if they do get fired, can they take legal action, or is that totally right for the employer to do in their rights?
That's fine.
If it's something, obviously, if you are required to quarantine yourself, you've been exposed, you have a fear of being exposed, or let's say you're one of those people that takes care of an elderly person, or you have your parents living with you or near you and you need to interact and take care of them. If you are told by your boss, show up to the job or you're going to get fired, you may very well have some legal recourse. Again, it just depends on the nature of your job. The types of services that you are carrying out as a part of your job function. Again, it's one of those it depends answers, but for those people that are high risk that are told to quarantine, certainly if you're following a governmental directive, let's say the governor issues an order that everybody is supposed to stay home. If your boss turns around and fires you for doing that, then yeah, you've got a pretty good claim.
But if they're just recommending it, right now it's just at the recommendation level, we want you to stay home, but obviously if you have to go to work, you have to go to work. If they can do the job from home, do they have a case there?
Employees are damned if they do and damned if they don't. And so here's the situation that they're in. In the state of Florida, employees are employees at will for the most part, unless you have a contract with your employer. So let's take a look at the massive layoffs that have occurred in certain areas. Do they have to hire you back in when those jobs are available? Well, there's a federal law out there right now that once it gets passed, the answer is going to be yes. It's not passed yet. There was some problems in the Senate. Apparently, we found out tonight that we have 5 Republican senators that are quarantined, so the laws did not pass today in the Senate. But in that provision, it says that the employers, it's almost like an extension of the Family Medical Leave Act, where employers under 500 must rehire their folks back when the opportunity presents itself. In a situation, though, like you said, Les, where you're in a high-risk category, so the employee can be in the high-risk category, somebody in their home can be in the high-risk category, or somebody that they're caring for can be in the high-risk category, what's an employee supposed to do? First of all, if an employer is not going to allow you to work remotely under those certain circumstances, you probably don't need to be employed there anyways. We've made provisions at Perry & Young where our folks, we've already analyzed our entire group of people that work for us. Our preferred vendors, we've put those in the high-risk category in the front line of being able to work remotely. And so that, you know, we want to set the example for everybody. We're not missing paychecks, we're not laying people off. We're just following the protocols that are out there from the medical side of it, but also from the actual employer side of it. What we're doing is we're trying to make it available to our staff who are able to work remotely to work remotely. So it's a balance. Will you have a cause of action against them? It depends on what's in this federal law. We've yet to read it because it hasn't passed yet. But also to say, do you have to have a job? No, you're an employee at will. You can be fired, let go for any reason. Of course, a downturn in the market is a reason to be let go, and you would qualify for unemployment benefits. So it's a terrible set of circumstances that the consolation prize may be that you get unemployment benefits, but that may be the only thing that you're left with.
Great advice here on Law Call tonight. We're talking about coronavirus and the law. So if you do have a question about that, our phone lines are open, 850-392-1544, or you can email us at lawcall@wmbb.com. You can also ask us anything. We're open here to answer all of your questions here tonight.